Good morning. Second. All right. Some charts. Markets are happy this morning. Why are they happy? Unemployment rate moved down a little bit, and the bond market likes it. We'll take a look. Interest rates moving up. As you know, they've been all over the place. So a lot of uncertainty, but we'll take a look at that. So Qs are gapping up here to the top of yesterday's high after a red bar. And that means whoever's short is now holding a loss. And I guess they'll have to buy the cover and decide what they're going to do in the first 5, 15 minutes or whatever. Yesterday, we talked about this being the area where there was a significant resistance of overlapping bars, converging moving averages. And you can see here, we've got two big spike up bars after that report moving toward that area. So this pattern, what does it do for me? Not much. Not from a daily chart perspective anyway. It's positive that it's gapping above the high of a red bar. This happened after a violation of a breakout to a new highs. And now it's retracing closer to a resistance area where I know there's going to be sellers. So this morning, does it gap and go up into that area? Does it gap and crap? That's the unknown. We'll need to watch to see what happens in the first 5, 15, 30 minutes, how things develop there. Initially, I would say it's positive gapping above a red bar, but putting that in the context of breakout failure, then to a breakdown. Does this a failure? Is it part of a turning point in this area? Nobody knows. And you can have opinions about what you want to do intraday. By the end of the day, we'll have more information. And if it closes positive up in that area, it'll still be in a resistance area, but that would be a stronger indication that it could go higher. So you see moving my cursor across the 65-minute chart, maybe it can get up to that area. Who knows? Maybe it could get up there today if it consolidated for a half hour or so. It would seem unlikely, but let's see what it does. That's what we have right now. Well, we could all take votes and then see what happens. We all have biases or opinions. You can see how this has moved up. It was starting to roll over yesterday. And yesterday, again, we had an afternoon where things didn't move very much. And so it could have rolled over. It didn't. At certain point, traders become tired, just like enough's enough, whatever. It's not happening here today. Let's move on. And so we start off again here today with this gap up, and we'll see how does it double top? Does it go sideways? If it goes sideways, that would be positive, and then maybe it goes higher. So we need more information. Spiders up at the top of the trading range, another whippy chart. It broke out over here where it moved up to make, new highs all the way back down to violate major support. This is what we discussed in detail last night in coaching. And then it went all the way back up to take out the highs, and then all the way back down, playing ping pong between the pivots or creating pivots. And now it's gapping up to that resistance area, which would imply it's going to make new all-time highs. If it can hold up here for the 15 minutes, 10 minutes, or just go, it should make new all-time highs. And does that mean anything of significance? Yes and no. Yes, in that it's made new all-time highs. And if to some extent, no, because that doesn't mean it's going to keep going and soar to keep going. I don't want to see what it's going to do. Does it form a topping tail at the end of the day? what kind of pattern is going to form here? In any event, this chart is a mess. And it's not the kind of pattern right now that would say, hey, buy this, at the top of the range, or even if it breaks out. We don't know. Well, we know, Brownie, what we know is the past and the present. We make assumptions about the future. That's what trading is, right? You boil it down. How do you approach that belief about the future? And that's up to you. You may think fundamentals, you may think technicals, how you approach your fundamentals or technicals, however you get to that point, right? And then how we get consistency. By the way, today at lunchtime, we're going to have a discussion about stop placements, which will lead to discussions of trader psychology. We're going to have a good discussion here, and I'll record it. If you guys going to go to lunch or whatever, I'll record it. I think it'll be a good conversation for everybody. So we're at the top of the range. We're going to see how this reacts. SPX, of course, is at the top of the range. And after the news came out, what was interesting, right? There's always something interesting with the markets. The top number didn't move all that much until I don't think it even moved at all. Did I write it down? In any event, it didn't move much. The bottom number moved up quite a bit from yesterday, but this didn't until the news came out. And so now, that's the far strike. Let me see if it's moved from here. Yeah, it's moved up a little bit more. So this changes, it changes rapidly. If you watch these during the day, in a matter of seconds, they can move a lot. So it's gapping up here. Can it get up there? Hell yes, of course. Seems even likely that maybe it could if it holds on to its gain for a while. Is it going to go down here? Let me just recheck this. Say 80. Wow, came up a lot again. Let's see where that is. It's always about where is that based on the support and resistance and trend. So in no way, shape, or form should it come down here. And you've got 6,900 above that, and that's good, besides yesterday's low. So the potential to come down here, I would say, is close to none. Could it decline? Sure. But getting down there today, no. So I think anything a little below 6,900 would be okay as you look for strikes where you can do a spread that's tighter than going all the way down here where it would have to be very wide. Okay. All right, let's look around other markets and let's see what the Russell is doing. You have to subscribe over again, the green room. Well, yeah, all of you, that are come here in the mornings, if you find what Dan and I are saying of interest and helpful and the discussions that we have, yes, you should subscribe, and be there. I mean, the cost is negligible compared to the benefits. All right, Russell gapping up again to yesterday's high like the others, and negating a red bar ignored, which again, where does it close today? This isn't a pattern that says gap and go, and it isn't necessarily a pattern that says gap and crap. It's a pattern that is more confusion, but we need to see how this develops. So see the 65-minute chart, there's an unfilled gap up there and the prior high. I'd rather this consolidate, maybe spike down and spike back up again for a long setup, for a day trade long setup, with the futures or leveraged ETF, whatever your, choice is. So I need to see something more as to what's going to go on here. All right. I'll just take a peek at the futures. We're going to look at interest rates, see where these are at. See, it's at the top of yesterday's range. Now, ideally, getting some kind of reversal in this kill zone, so to speak, would be ideal, where you had, a couple of days where it rolls over. Now, if this was to form a topping tail, let me back up a little bit as far as, our how we view things. So the idea was coming up into that area on the cues where it would be a reversal, converging moving averages, more overhead bars. So now if this bar, let's say it goes higher and it comes all the way back down, and at the end of the day, it's a topping tail bar. That's a better setup than I would never short something like this on a swing trading basis that started with a wide range bar up and a reversal bar, not other than intraday. It would make no sense on a swing basis. Doesn't matter whether it's these futures contract or whether it was IBM or XYZ. Doesn't matter. It's not a high probability setup. But if we were to get even this bar closing like that and the next bar was like that, where you're getting a correction through time and you start getting a grouping of bars, bar by bar analysis would guide you to, hey, things have changed tremendously from here. And just like from here to here, there was a giant changes in what happened. So you need a tool that will guide you to making changes on the fly, especially as an intraday trader. And that's what bar by bar analysis does for you. All right. So same story. Will it keep going up? Is it going to turn back down again? What's going to happen here today? We'll all see how it unfolds. Here's the S&Ps, the top of yesterday's range. Doesn't have a lot of room to go up there, but let's give the benefit of the doubt to this move higher. Russell futures look good. I think that could go back up. It was the stronger. Nice sideways there and a wide range bar up. We'll see if it can hold on to the gain. And let's look at the Russell, the Dow. New all-time highs, wide range bar up. Topping tail yesterday, inside bar here today. Trend is up. This was a big mess. Let's see what kind of action we get here today. All right. Bitcoin, maybe it's still bottoming out. There was the reversal off of 60,000. Yesterday we said maybe it can come down here. We get a bottoming tail bar, some kind of retest. This was a climactic move. And over here, I suspect, I haven't looked at this yet. This is the software index where there's all of these climactic buy setup patterns, tons of them. And it bounced up a little bit, little topping tail yesterday. When you're trading this, it's a counter trend trade. The idea behind a climactic buy setup is just that. Climactic creates voids. It can bounce. How far is it going to bounce? Bar by bar. Where's the resistance? Up here, $90, a whole number. Maybe it keeps going. We'll see if it can keep going. Let's just see where it is on this chart. Should be gapping up. Not a significant gap up, and it's flip-flopping around there. So isn't the highest probability trade. You got to be nimble with these kind of things. Sometimes they surprise you and they go further than you might think, or they can come right back down again, like Bitcoin is just flip-flopping around here. Let's look at Ethereum, which is down a little bit. It's just nothing, no patterns here, nothing to do. Gold is shaping up. It's more of a grinder. It doesn't know what to do either here. It was moving higher, but I think it's gonna look. This part of the chart is slowly moving up. It's got the void to be able to do that. Intraday, I like it. Basing, as long as it can stay above these pivots here, which is yesterday's low, it could start picking up some momentum to the upside. Silver down. It's a little sloppy on the daily. It's shaping up. It's got more work to do. Interest rates Let's see. Well, here's bonds. Another chart of whipsaws, breakdown, holds back up again. This morning, back down. And the bond market is communicating that it's trying to figure out what is going on here. Right? Is the economy increasing? Is it slowing down? Retail sales, was it yesterday, showed slowdown. For the last year or two, we've been hearing the consumer, soft landing, consumer's going to save the day. And so now we got a chart that's confused again. And we got the new Fed guy coming. We'll know when he gets approved. What happened here? This must be some bad tick in here. Anyway, I'll fix that. You see, 13-week has been slowly grinding higher. So there is no anticipation of a rate cut coming anytime soon. But look what interest rates up like that a little bit. That reaffirms that no interest rate cut. All right. Other than that, it's going to be a wait and see this morning as to what direction these markets want to take after a little bit of back and forth. Oil continues to act bullishly, within this messy range. The Venezuela story, looked like it was going to head lower and big move, and so far it's just chopping around at some resistance like it's going to go higher. Any news? Well, if we had an inside messages from the president, who knows what's going to come out of his mouth on any given day that could move the markets. Other than economic reports that we know are coming out, tomorrow there's continuous jobless claims. So, 8:30 tomorrow and then at 10 o'clock home sales, we'll get some other information as far as news goes. To you, Dan.
Hey, Greg, give me 1 second.
We're waiting for Dan. Markets aren't doing anything here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. I was on the phone. Good morning. Yeah, they like the revised numbers. Right, actual numbers just delayed, I guess is the proper word. So Greg, I heard you say we'll talk about stops at lunch. Here's another good one example we should talk about. So my up alarm went off. Where should be the new stop on deck?
It'll be a good discussion.
Yeah, I mean, for me, before our discussion, I'd wait 30 minutes, make sure it's going to stay strong, and then move it yesterday's low.
Well, it'll be interesting because depending on how you manage it, you don't have to wait for anything. That's a personal choice, but
for our swing later, we need some consistency.
which I'm going to give you.
All right, Home Depot, Thomas. Yeah, we're in it already. Little buy setup from a breakout. So we're in it, but it looks good. A little relative, anything gapping down is relative weakness, right? So it's a little relative weakness. That's a nice closing breakout. Yeah, I like this one better for a new trade. Earnings 225, so we're good there. AMD, short watch, gap into 216. I don't, I need more information. You know, these were power bars, so if the market's going to stay strong, this to me suggests that it's going to kind of chop around and move up. EOSE alarm, we have a put spread on that, went against us yesterday, but now it's back. Deck I just showed you. Al, we're in. There's been a ton of climbos just grinding higher. Gurn, we can enter that today. Gurn over 163 is a go. Let me tell them. IoT, up alarm, another Climo. We're just in trail mode. Little bull rectangle. Talked about this yesterday. I like the weekly monthly. Looks great. So that I like over the high. And that's it on alarms. Let's go to earnings. Oh, so look at these three stocks. The next little sector victim of AI. They said, I guess, true. Was it a Truist Bank? I don't know who did it. Who cares? Came up with a software about some tax planning. That's Schwab, LPLA, RJF all got slammed. But Schwab here, I like this base. 30-minute high. I think we can do a 97 on put spread for Friday, which will be 2 DTE. I'm going to set an alarm in just 101. Let's go to earnings. Here, KDP. That's a nice bottoming pattern, continuation. Ford, whipping all over, flat, no interest, hood. And I see, I would have loved if this went and was a Climo into earnings and then gapping down $7. Now there's no pattern. You know, and when we get Climos like this, these are the best to set up W bottoms. We trade the first bounce as a Climo and the retracement as a W. Yeah, Mattel's getting killed. I got that on my bottom right list here. It's amazing with Hasbro at all-time highs, and look at the percent of this. I mean, what a difference of companies. Look at that gap. So I put that in the category of, and look at the volume yesterday. That bar suggests somebody knew something. They were getting the heck out before earnings. So I have that as a put spread idea. Look at Hasbro, all-time highs. Amazing difference of those two stocks. HIW alarm. There you go. That's what's a bottoming pattern. Look, retest of this. MA is flattening out. So keep an eye on that. Lyft had earnings, and you know, gapping down again. Compare that to the cousin Uber. Well, Uber's weak too. For the longest time, Uber, all in here, Uber's was substantially stronger. But Lyft, I'll put it on my list of excessive gap. It's a big ugly gap on Lyft. Fresh here, that could be a short-term exhaustion gap. It's down a lot from here to here. JHX 2640, the gap's too big, but it's bullish. Tybo 2271, no pattern. Upstart 3844, no pattern. It's a sell setup, gapping down a little. But if this were to come in and turn at $36, then we got a W bottom. A-Lab gapping in right in the middle of this, so that's a condor. Pattern, you got to go through a checklist, see if there's anything at 135, 195. A guild, things. I look at that amazing igniting breakout. But stocks that do this into earnings, I just, as a general experience, have a bearish bias on these. So that's a call spread idea. Zulu 51. Now it might be a short-term exhaustion, but I don't like gap and snaps from sideways consolidation. I like them from a regular climb up. But we'll see what it does. 102, that's a bullish gap, but possibly excessive. That's a 30-minute low call spread watch. Same with this. I mean, look at that, gapping up over $7. Bullish, but excessive. That's just slopping around doing nothing. NBC tends to, that's a nasty gap down, but I just gotta wait 30, 60 minutes. Now this would have been a great pattern if it opened flat, short below, but that could be a short-term exhaustion gap. But again, it's gapping from consolidation. It's not gapping from a fluid. See, now that's that's fluid move down. This would be the pattern that I wish it were gapping down $5, $6. In fact, I don't know where it's gapping. There's no prints. This too, no prints, but that's more of a climb off. It opens flat, put spread 30-minute high. GXO, that's a nice pattern. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4. That I like. I'm gonna set an alarm 5870. That's a very nice 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that's like textbook. So shoot, I'm gonna post that one. 5870, so I'm gonna have an early alarm. Yeah, let me post it real quick. One, two, three, 4. GXO. That's, I got an early alarm. Now poor Angie, that's a big old percent gap down, but no pattern. We'll come back. Zulu Golf is what's the same as Zulu. The Red Roof Inn. That was a nice 1, 2, 3, but it was a gapping up. But I don't. Red Roof Inn. I don't see any prints up there. HIW I mentioned already. Let's see what that does. AEIS, that's a nice continuation pattern, but gap's too big. That also could be a call spread as an exhaust, not an exhaustion, but short-term top. That's gapping down 1330. That could be a day trade short. Nimic, I don't see where it's opening, but a sloppy buy setup. That's gapping up 70. I think it's gapping up $10. That's we'll just come back to it. Nothing to do right now. All right, let me go through alarms. So FE, we scanned all the utilities yesterday. Utilities took off. I was hoping for a 1, 2, 3 on this, but my alarm just hit. I'm not doing anything with it. Bravo Lima, 30-minute high put spread, HIW. Oh, that looks good. HIW, I don't know if that was this one earnings? I guess so. That could be a 5 minute high. I do not trade earnings within the first 5 minutes. And unless I have a beautiful pattern pre-market. Look at Mattel bottom right. So see, buyer stepped up right away. Let me check juice bar. And SP fluid move, but isn't also resembling a measured move. Yeah, the measured sloppy measured move already met. So that's like a plus. And it's measured from here and we're at the bottom of the range. So the only thing that would have been better is if we had one more fluid bar down to like 32. But entry would be on the 15 to me. All right, let me check Mattel. Sure, they're going to be spreading. But 1450s, and there's no weeklies, and the 14s are only a dime, so I'm not going to mess with that, particularly in the first 5 minutes. NSP, yeah, I had an NSP alarm GXO. Okay, so let me reset GXO. The entry will be 59.27. And I just triggered 59.27 GXO. That GFS. GXO. Look at this GFS middle chart. Shoot. All right. So that looks good too. Gapping over a red bar. This is also kind of a measured move. Robert, say from here to here, gapping over a red bar, target 47-ish. But let's see if it can tighten up a little bit. IGV low alarm. Okay, so a little bit of relative weakness there. Meta. I'll set an alarm at 680. Q's and spiders little breakout failure on the 5. Diamonds still the strongest. I already have an alarm at 680. Oh, Home Depot, ugly retracement now. Oh, Home Depot had a gap down. That shouldn't have happened. Bar by bar, that should not have happened. Our GXO ripping, nice. That was the best looking one I found. Earnings setup. curve. It could be a continuation. Continuation up, maybe goes to the 200, but 15 is slop, and it's also a poor cell setup. But these are two power bars, so it's not a good cell setup. IoT. All right, IoT is trail stopping out at a nice gain. Well, provided that's a real alarm. Hold on. 27, 28. Yeah, I had it under yesterday's low. You know, because a lot of these climbos were weakening yesterday afternoon. It's been tighten stops. So we're at a IoT. Nice gain. IGV, we're out. We met our target on the put spread or naked puts. We're still in it in the ETF letter. Yeah, yeah. It's not a 1, 2, 3 because that bar is red, but I interpret them the same. So let's put that on the list. How? PayPal alarm go off. Is that a real? No. Oh, I had a break even alarm. 41.28 alarm went off. But the stop is still 38.68. But bar by bar, I don't like today's bar or yesterday's bar. $38.68. But you know, that's where I manage my portfolio different than our swings. I would have killed this break even. So I guess that's the talk we're gonna have with Greg at 12:30. All right, TMHC, this was an earnings stock. My alarm just went off 67, but it's too whippy for me. OPLN alarm. Sam, that was on your list. I assume we're short. FEBL. So I got nothing there. So I got Akamai. We sold a third pre-market. Look at that. Nice. Let's see. So a bullish gap like that should not be retracing like this. Let me actually move the stop to the tighter of the break even. You would be an idiot to turn that into a loser. Well, and that was, yeah, I mean, it's just not a good pattern to do anything. That was a 1-day little pop yesterday. So, wow, this TTC is just an amazing slow grinder.